Good evening, and welcome to Monday Night Live, the first Monday Night Live of February, here in the great year of 2021. Tonight, we launch into a series of 4 presentations having to do with 4 different recovery superpowers. Before we get into the first recovery superpower, I want to welcome each of you here. We have a rather large group tonight, and it's always thrilling to feel the circle grow and to be sitting in that circle of energy. Despite the digital interface between us, by now, each of us realizes that the transmission of love is possible, even here in 2 dimensions, because we're really in 4 dimensions. And so there's a real palpable thing that happens when we come together in good numbers like this. So welcome everybody, first of all. We like to begin our Monday night sessions by centering ourselves with some breath. So I'd like to ask that if you're sitting on a couch or a chair, that you sit up tall so that your spine is extended and your heart is lifted. You can turn your palms face up and bring the thumb and forefinger together. I like to do that. That's comfortable for me. Or you can just rest your palms face down onto the knees and just be in a comfortable position. Relax the shoulders down. Draw the chin in slightly so the back of the neck is straight. Now gently allow the eyes to close. Together as a community, let's take a deep inhale through the nose. And again through the nose and exhale. Take a deep inhale. Feel the inhale filling the lungs, expanding the rib cage outward, breathing all the way to the top under the collarbones. And pause. And exhale. Use the navel point to squeeze that navel towards the spine to release all the exhale out, and then begin inhaling again. Pause at the top, bringing yourself fully present into this space, and exhale. Releasing all tension and stress from the body. Pause at the bottom and inhale. Pause at the top and exhale. Pause at the bottom and inhale. Pausing at the top once again. And exhale. Pausing at the bottom. And let's take a deep inhale together. And opening the mouth, gently sigh it out. And come with the eyes open. Beautiful. Thank you for joining tonight. We have a special webinar tonight where we begin the first in a 4-part series of speaking about recovery superpowers. The superpower that we're going to discuss tonight is encapsulated in a Sanskrit word. And Stacy, our incredible Stacy, will write it into the chat bar. The Sanskrit word is satya. Satya means truth. Truthfulness, relating to truth, relating to what is, perception of reality as reality presents itself to us. The first superpower of recovery is this concept of satya. When I arrived in treatment at Hazelden in July of 1989, I was very beaten up. I had beaten myself up with drugs and alcohol. I had made decisions which placed me in a great deficit. My life force was dwindling. My body was growing weaker. My mind ever more confused. My ability to tell the truth had left my life. My ability to perceive deeper truth had left my life. Even my ability to know what is true and what is false, my ability to discern the true from the false, was gone. I had reached a bottom, and my bottom resulted in me picking up the phone to call my father. Now, I was not going to tell my father the truth. I was going to tell him about the pain of my life, the difficulty I was having in school, as if I had even been to class for months. I was going to tell him about the difficulty I was having in relationships, as if any girl would come near me at that point in my life. I was going to tell him about how I had money problems, which I had had forever. I was going to tell him about all the things that were difficult in my life, but I wasn't going to tell him the truth. On the phone with him, he started to cry. And in his tears, something happened. A door of possibility and hope creaked open just the tiniest bit, and a little bit of light came through. Call it grace. The light of grace came through, and an opportunity presented itself to me in that moment. I had to tell the truth in that moment, or likely perish. It was that serious. I heard my father crying, and I said, please, please don't cry, Dad. Please don't cry. I said, I will get help. I will get help. I will seek help, and I will get help for myself. I told him in that moment the truth. I don't know what to do, but I'll get help. I don't know how to live, but I'll get help. I don't know how to stop doing what I've been doing, but I'll get help. And so I told the truth. And that's a true bottom. The bottom is that sacred place where you become willing to tell the truth as it really is. And because I told the truth in that moment, that door of possibility got a little wider. I opened myself to a new path, which would be characterized by a willingness to accept help, a kind of a surrender. Okay, I don't really know what to do, so I'll take some counsel. I'll take some advice. And so my entire recovery, you could say my entire life in a way, began in that moment. That was a long, long time ago. And ever since that moment until this moment now, truthfulness, seeking the truth, living in the truth, being truthful with myself and with others has been the most important part of life. Everything came from it. If I look back, everything came from embracing the truth. The original truth there was, I don't know what to do. I need help. I don't want to keep doing what I've been doing, but I don't know how to do anything else. So satya, truthfulness, relating to the truth, was the seed of my recovery. And I contend, and I offer up for your own inquiry, that it probably was the same for you. Are you guys with me so far? Does this make sense? This concept of satya, truthfulness, being the core seed of recovery. Yes? Can you relate to that idea? Okay. I'm getting a lot of yeses and absolutelys and amen to that. Yeah. Okay. Now what happens next? The truthfulness, which was the seed of recovery, leads to the next thing. For me, in that case, the next thing is arriving at a treatment center. And the single first thing my teacher or my counselor taught me at that point, the single first thing she said to me was, self-honesty is critical if you're going to succeed. At the very least, you have to be able to be honest with yourself. You have to see what is. You have to see yourself. As I look back, my father's tears allowed me that moment to see myself, not through my own lens of addiction, but through my father's eyes. You see, I had a glimpse of the pain that I was causing other people who cared about me. But I didn't see that before. I didn't see it. It didn't even come on my radar. But in that moment, not only was I able to access my own truth of I don't know what to do, I don't know how to help myself, but I was able to see a deeper truth beyond my own skin of how my behavior, my way of being in the world was hurting other people, and particularly hurting other people who cared something about me. And I was able to see that, and it became unacceptable to me that I would behave that way. And that was the sacred bottom that I reached. Now, the next thing was treatment. Those days with my counselor, with my peers in AA meetings that we did while we were at treatment, or 12-step meetings, if you will. We had group sessions, we had individual sessions, we had all kinds of activities we had to do. They pretty much kept us really busy. And the emphasis was on being able to unravel how a human being could arrive on the shores of addiction. Addiction. A dis-ease, a state of being in which truthfulness is not valued, unimportant, irrelevant. So that state of addiction, what one comes to as the truth is, I need more. I need different. I need better. I need anything else but now. Now, truthfulness is only really experienced in the now. The addict seeks to get away from the now, either by recreating pleasure or avoiding pain, or both. So as we move forward, as I'm moving forward through this recovery treatment center in this path, what's happening is they're helping me to see the reasons why I would behave in such a way that was counterproductive to my own heart and soul, asking me to live a beautiful, amazing life. And so, in starting to see those things and to start to see my behaviors and to start to see my own hurts and my own traumas and my own wounds, being truthful, like, rather than getting angry and reacting, saying, oh, you hurt my feelings. That hurts me. And then my counselor would say, what does it remind you of? And I would just immediately go to a point in my past. It reminds me of this thing that took place when I was about 7 years old, and it just upset me to no end. And my counselor would say, that's a trauma. That's a resentment. That's an energy that's still in you, that's stuck in you. Don't you see the connection? And that was a deeper truthfulness. A deeper truthfulness. And that was happening over and over and over and over again through treatment. When I got out of treatment, and I've told this story before, so forgive me if you've heard it, but the counselors, there was like 3 or 4 of them, and they sort of brought me into the room, to have the conversation. We were going to have the conversation about my next step. And they said, you've done a really good job here. You've done amazingly well. And I had really tried, to listen and to do things and to wake up. And I did not want to go back to the way I had been living. And they said, well, we want to tell you that we think and we strongly recommend you go on to a halfway house now. And I was like, oh my God, I'm just about to get out. And I felt this sense of great completion, and I wanted to go back to my friends, and I wanted to go back to life. And they informed me, they said, that feeling of you wanting to go back to your friends and back to your life is not based in truth. And we believe that if you do that, you will end up using drugs again. And you will place yourself in trouble again. And I couldn't feel that in my being. I said, no, I don't believe that's true. I really want this recovery. And they said, well, we really think you ought to do this. We strongly recommend you go to halfway house. And I said, how long? And they said, 3 months. And I was like, oh my God, 3 months. Holy crap. 3 months. I was like, it might as well have been 3 decades. That's how I felt. But I said, I'll go. I just said, I'll go. You know, came out of my mouth. And then they said this. They said, you know, and we think you ought to stop seeing the Grateful Dead. You need to stop going to Grateful Dead shows because it's such a slippery slope over there. It's like, you know, everybody basically is using drugs, and we don't think that's going to be a good environment for you. And I looked at them and I said, listen, here's what's going to happen here. We are going to put our heads together. Can you imagine like somebody at 40 days sober saying to their counselor, we're going to put our heads together and we're going to figure out a way for me to be sober at the Grateful Dead concerts because I'm never going to stop. That's what I said. And I meant it, and I have never stopped. I said, we're going to have to figure out a way to do it. Now listen, you guys can think what you think of that, but that was my truth. I'm willing to go to the 3-month halfway. I'm not willing to give up the Grateful Dead. That was my truth in that moment. And I told them. And you know what happened when I went to my first Grateful Dead show sober? These other Grateful Dead heads had started a sober Grateful Dead heads group that met at Grateful Dead concerts, and I could now meet there. And it was just the greatest thing ever. I could be at a concert and I could be safe and be with other sober people and have this ecstatic dancing and musical experience, which I love, as you know, and I could do that. And my recovery is based in so many respects around music, singing, chanting, mantra, dancing my face off. So much of recovery is about that because that brings great joy to me. And so because that's something that brings great joy to me, I also bring it into everything we do at Recovery 2.0 because I think that recovery is made better through music. Maybe you guys agree. So I just think recovery ought to be amazing. And who would want to have a life without music? So that was actually reaching a deeper truth. Then I got into the steps, the 12 steps. Now the 12 steps, let's see, how many people in the room, just say yes. How many people in the room have actually done the 12 steps with a sponsor, like that kind of way? Okay, got a lot of people. Got yeses, no, a few no's, yeah, okay, that's fine. Thank you for that feedback. So I would describe the steps, in the context of the conversation we're having right now, I'll describe the 12 steps as a journey towards the truth, which leads to one's ability to serve. That's it. Deeper and deeper levels of truth so that we can then serve another. That's the 12 steps. So it all begins with honesty. We talk about rigorous honesty in the 12-step programs. We talk about that as a founding principle, that this work cannot be done without truth, without truthfulness, and without our ability to discern the true from the false. And in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, they talk about people who are unable to tell the true from the false, people who are caught in addiction, in severe addiction, and they no longer can see this is true, this is not true. They've lost the ability. And I really relate to that idea when I was in active addiction. I had really lost that ability. Okay. So I went through with a sponsor, I worked the 12 steps, and what it did was it gave me the beginnings of a recovery superpower. The beginnings. It gave me the beginnings of satya, of truthfulness, of self-honesty and rigorous honesty, And it taught me a way of being in the world where that's what was going on. So that was incredibly powerful. And what it does is it strengthens your recovery. I'll give you a few examples. If I'm in trouble and I catch it, I admit it to myself. Oh, Tommy, you're in a bit of a spot here. You're in a difficult place emotionally. You're off center spiritually. That's my ability to discern where I am at. What is the truth of my situation? I'm uncomfortable, or I'm really enjoying myself, and this is wonderful. That's also good to catch that also when that happens. That's also a statement of truth when that's what's real. So by catching myself in trouble or feeling difficult emotions or caught up in some kind of thought train that isn't leading to the right place, I can take an action based on truthfulness. And that action can be to pick up the phone and call one of my teachers, one of my friends, one of my fellow recovering folks. And I can say, hey, you got a minute? I'm going through something. I need a hand. And I have done that consistently for 30 years now. And that has always been powerful, helpful, and I think it has made the difference for me in being able to get the necessary answers so that I could do the next right thing, whatever that might be. I could do the next right thing. Now that was developed through 12-step work and developing this way of being in the world and starting to see more clearly when I would be off center and then taking an action. All of that is possible because of the principle of satya. Okay. Now what else? When I went through the 12 steps and I came to my 4th step, which is the step where we look back at our behavior, particularly through the lens of our resentments. We look at our resentments to better understand the truth about what has happened for us in our life. And we uncover this incredible truth. And then we tell somebody else about it. And then we prepare ourselves to become ready, willing, and able to express the newfound truth to another person who we may have harmed. And we get into our 9th step amends there. Incredibly powerful, unbelievably powerful. I wish this for everybody. I wish the 12 steps on everybody. You do not need to be an addict to work through the 12 steps and benefit greatly from them. So I tell people, please, if you're even the slightest bit willing, get with a good sponsor and work through these steps because they will bring you to the truth. They'll give you the beginnings of this first recovery superpower. Okay, what happened for me? Through the working of the 12 steps, I want to tell you about the most profound thing. Some of you who are in this room right now, still experience craving for your primary addiction: drugs, alcohol, food, sex, gambling, and a whole host of others. Some of you still feel craving from time to time. That's okay. You're in a process of growing beyond, hopefully, moving beyond those cravings and moving into a place that is a new place where those cravings no longer exist. You live beyond that addiction one day at a time. For me, that became possible through working the 12 steps. I woke up one day, and I'm going to say it was about 9 months. 9 months of work, of not just 12-step work, but 12-step meetings, and listening, really listening to people's stories, comparing, contrasting in a beautiful way, learning, and trying to help, trying to show up. Even when I didn't want to show up, doing it anyway. Based on the idea that I was told by people, if I did that, this profound transformation would take place for me. And I woke up about 9 months into this process, and I could not remember the last time I thought about using drugs and alcohol. And that was a profound realization for me. It was conscious. I literally thought to myself, what have I been thinking about? Not drugs and alcohol. I'm free. I really remember thinking, I'm free. Wow, how did it happen? When did it happen? And I remember feeling this lightness, this tremendous lightness in my being about being free. Now that lasted for a little while, and it was lovely and beautiful and appropriate. And then more work began. Life was happening, discovering myself, discovering my place in this world, like we all must. Discovering my purpose, discovering, how am I going to make money in this world? That was a thing, really. How am I going to make money in this world? How am I going to use my gifts, my talents? I'm so confused. I mean, this world has never really seemed to me like a place I belong. How am I going to find a place for myself in this world? And I thought like that and really felt that way for decades, truly. And I would work on those problems as they would arise. Lord knows I had many problems in my romantic relationships for years and years. Lots of codependency, lots of confusion. So much growth I had to work. I had to really become a different person in order to overcome these mental habits, this conditioning. I still had so much work to do. So it turned out that there were deeper and deeper levels of truth that needed to be exposed in order for me to get to the next level. Now, I want you guys to take this home above almost anything else I've said. Please hear this. We talk about the idea that more will be revealed. That as you go forward, more will be revealed to you. And that really indicates a third party involved, right? Or something else is involved in the revealing. Who's revealing what to me? How does it work? This unfolding. It turns out that we're talking about levels of consciousness. That truthfulness is connected to your level of consciousness. Now, addiction exists at a certain level of consciousness. All we have to do, while it's not easy, is elevate our consciousness to a new level. And at that new level, the addictions that we were dealing with at the previous level will no longer be there. Now, other issues, other challenges might be there, but not what you were dealing with before, because you truly have elevated to a new way of thinking and a new way of being. That's exactly how it was for me when the difficulty of craving was lifted. I was elevated to a new level of consciousness, and as I mentioned, there was great joy that came there and new challenges. You might call it a new lesson plan was presented to me. I could see new things. I was thinking in a new way. I was more aware of myself than I used to be. And this was all wonderful. And with this newfound awareness and this new level of consciousness, I found new sets of challenges. At that new level of consciousness, more was in fact revealed to me. I could tell the truth, discern the truth, and live in truth more effectively than I ever had before. And with each level of advancement, the same was true, that there was an unfolding of truthfulness in my life. What happened then? Things present themselves at certain levels, challenges. You come to a wall, like you can't move through it, can't move past it. You get stuck. Yeah, you're not any longer stuck like I was in, say, drugs and alcohol, but you're stuck in a new way. This is where the lesson plan comes in, So the new ways that I was stuck were, I was disconnected from my body and breath in some way because I was still smoking cigarettes. It's hard for me to believe now how important the breath is to me, but I just couldn't put it down. It was such an addiction for me the first number of years of my recovery. I was really confused about relationships and really confused about my relationship with money and gambling and all of that. There's so much addictive behavior in me still at that time, And so deeper levels of truth. Now here's what I believe, and here's what I've experienced in my life, and run this through your own experience and see if this makes sense to you. When I was behaving in addictive ways, after I had put down drugs and alcohol, this more will be revealed thing really sort of showed up in a way. I could see my own suffering. I could see that I was on the wrong track. I could see that I was out of alignment, but I could also see that I wasn't stopping. I wasn't moving forward. I was getting stuck, really stuck, and still stuck in addiction. It didn't matter that it wasn't drugs and alcohol. It was still stuck in addiction. And as I said, there seems to be something that's doing the revealing. You could call that God or higher power or the quantum field or whatever you're comfortable with. But if more will be revealed, then there's something that's doing the revealing and you're a part of it. And so whatever that something was, my direct experience of that something was an insistence that I change. Like the universe saying to me, oh, you're going to change. We can do this the easy way or the hard way, but you're going to change, okay? And here's how we're going to ensure that you change. We're going to turn up the pain level for you. And we're going to get your attention. Now run that through your own experience. Have you ever continued in a behavior that you knew intuitively and in the cells of your body, in your heart and soul, you knew it was not leading to a good place, but you stayed in that behavior? And I'm talking even after you put down your primary addictions. Like later on, maybe you were in a relationship for 5 years too long. Maybe you were hitting the cigarettes like I was, or any other addictive behavior or something that you were doing that you knew this is going to end in tears, but I'm not stopping. Now, if you've ever been in that situation, then you understand what I'm talking about. And what I'm talking about is the universe getting fed up with you. And I literally mean, I could feel it. The heat, the pain was going up. And with each time I became more and more stubborn, and I suffered, and in the morning after, like I'd smoke, half a pack of cigarettes, be out all night, drink a whole bunch of caffeine, and call myself sober. Now that might have been fine for me in my first few months or my first year of recovery, but here I am 10 years later, and I'm still in that same kind of cycle, and it's like not working anymore. And the universe is like, listen, this is going to stop. Now, we're just going to turn up the heat on you, and eventually you're going to have to listen. And that's what happened to me. Now, what I'm getting at here is, at a new level of consciousness, a new level of truthfulness is necessary. So the commitment to truth is also a one day at a time process. Can you hear me on this? The commitment to truth is a one day at a time process. And the need to elevate your understanding, your awareness, and your consciousness is going to go along with that need for a higher level, deeper, more profound level of truthfulness. More will be revealed if you're able to see it. More will be revealed. And when more is revealed, there's going to be a new level of truthfulness, and you got to hit that. You got to go after that. How will you do it? You will do it with teachers. You will do it with teachings. And you will do it with a community of support and love around you. You'll do your morning sadhana practice, your practice to help you each morning get set up so that you can perceive truthfulness. You'll do it by, instead of like maybe defaulting into Netflix every night, you'll hit a live presentation like we are right now on a Monday night, or you'll do a Tuesday night presentation from like a therapist like we have in the Recovery 2.0 community. Or you'll do, a yoga class, or you'll do a meditation experience. Why? Because that's going to elevate your presence and your awareness and your ability to discern the true from the false. When I was stuck in my gambling addiction, or stuck in my cigarette addiction, or in my codependency, I was very clear around certain things like drugs and alcohol, and very clear that I actually wanted to be a healthy individual, but my actions were not following suit. Somewhere in me, I had slipped into a manner of being where I was living out of integrity with myself. Out of integrity means untruthful. I wasn't necessarily aware of it, except the signs were being presented by the universe more and more clearly, more loud, if you will. Things became loud. And then, as many of you know the story, I came back from Las Vegas after a weekend. I went to my therapist's office. I had lost God knows how much money. I was in such severe debt. My energy was dwindling. My body hurt. I was so filled with stress. And my therapist delivered these famous words. She said, "How long are you sober now?" Monday morning, right? I'm tore up from a weekend in Vegas. "How long are you sober now?" And I said, "I'm 11 years sober." And she said, you still tell yourself that?" It was a very humbling, humiliating, thing. And I would say to her, "Damn right, I tell myself that. I haven't had a drink or a drug for 10 years or whatever it was." And she was shaking her head. And you know what I wasn't doing, what I wasn't admitting? That this was not okay with me. I was out of alignment and I was out of truthfulness. I had lost the superpower. I had lost the superpower of satya, of truthfulness. And I was now living in a way where my actions were leading not to harmony, but to disharmony, not to connection, but to disconnection, not into freedom, but into addiction. And that happened to me at 10 years sober, as it does to many of us. As I said, this is a one day at a time thing. It can happen anytime. So when the suffering got bad enough, and my back went out, and many of you know the whole story of me losing my ability to move. When my suffering got bad enough, it was time for me to listen. And it was time for me to tell the truth again. And that was another sacred moment in my life, another bottom. Remember, the bottom is the moment where you're willing to tell the truth. And I've come to many bottoms in my life. And each one of them has served me to be ready and willing for the next lesson plan. So what happens then? The next lesson plan comes in. For me, this last one, 2003, that's now, 17, 18 years ago. I would meet my life teacher, Guru Prem. I would learn how to breathe. I would learn how to move in different ways. Most importantly, I would learn how to think differently again, and I would learn how to truly release stress from my body so that my body could heal and my mind could heal. My heart could open and I could really begin to walk a new path of recovery that I refer to as the path of discovery in recovery, and it's called Recovery 2.0. All those lessons that I learned, a vision of a way of life beyond anything that I had been given before, a vision of freedom beyond anything I had been shown before, and that I would have to show up. More will be revealed. And I was told in the yogic sense by my teacher, keep up and you'll be kept up. Keep up and you'll be kept up. And there was that idea again. If I keep up, I'll be kept up. Who's going to keep me up? Well, I have to participate, but then something's going to happen. This other party that's involved is going to step in, and there's going to be buoyance, and I'm going to be held, and I'm going to be lifted, and I'm going to be able to do it. But what's the first thing that has to happen? Keep up. And so when I hear that, when I hear keep up, it's stay on the truth. Stay with the truth. Keep moving towards truth. Keep exploring the truth. When you get off track, don't beat yourself up for it. Just recognize it. I'm off track. And immediately when you say that, boop, you're back at the truth. You're back in alignment. So, all of this recovery, all of the unfolding, the revealing, the keeping up, ultimately was about greater and greater levels of truth, of developing this superpower. This superpower unlocks your whole life. Without it, nothing. Can't make progress. Can't get there. But with this, it is. Somebody just wrote in here, I love it. Karen wrote, master key. That's exactly what this is. This is a superpower. Now, sometimes it's hard for us to utter the truth when we need to in an appropriate way. Sometimes it's hard for us to tell the truth. We have to start with ourselves. We tell ourselves the truth, and then we have to discern with this truth, what is the next right thing? How can I be free? We humble ourselves and we ask, how can I be free? How can I serve? And that ultimately, as I said, was the point of the entire 12 steps. Be free and then serve. And by the way, that's the point practically of every single religious and spiritual path. Really, how can I be free? How can I serve? The superpower of Satya will allow us to be free. You have heard it before. The truth shall set you free. The superpower of Satya will set you free. And then you'll be able to serve. In your serving, you will be able to experience bliss, joy, purpose, connection, true love, and fulfillment at every level. The Recovery 2.0 membership exists for this reason: to uncover, to discover, and to develop your superpowers. If you ask me, I would say the membership is about three main things: teachers, teachings, community. One thing that I'd add to that is I believe strongly that this is a one day at a time thing. One day at a time, we get involved. Every day of the week, practically, right now it's Monday through Friday, but we're about to add Saturday and Sunday, and I'm going to show you specifically right now what I'm talking about. Every day of the week, there's a live event. And to me, it's like, what else should we be doing except engaging in powerful, uplifting, amazing, unifying live events together? So I want to take a moment right now and show you exactly how this works. And I want to invite you to join our membership if you're not already a member. Now, anyone who is a member, they will tell you in the chat bar right here what they think of membership. And that's testimony from them. And I will just take a moment right now and show you what I'm talking about specifically. So you see, this is our member dashboard. When you become a member of Recovery 2.0, you access the program portal here. And I'll just show you this front page just to give you an example. Every month, I give a message. So here's my February message. Today's February 1st. And each month I put up a new message to welcome you to the new month and to let you know the themes that we're working on for this month. Right below here, you can see that we have access to our online meetings. Those meetings are open for anyone, whether they join membership or not. Those are always free and they're open to the general public. We have very powerful Recovery 2.0 meetings, and that's really something worth discovering. We have a private membership Facebook group, and we have a calendar. Now take a look at the live sessions that we have each week. Right now, you're engaged in it right now with me. Monday Night Live. Here it is. Monday Night Live. Every Monday of the year, that's 52 Mondays, either myself or somebody else will be presenting a live session about recovery, spirituality, health and wellness, you name it. On Tuesday nights, we have therapists. Two therapists are our faculty. Right now, we have the amazing Anthony Thier, who is a somatic healing practitioner and a marriage and family counselor. He's going to be this Tuesday. He switches off he alternates Tuesdays with an amazing woman named Heather Monroe, who is also a licensed therapist and social worker. She's beloved in our community, and she just has been providing the most incredible content these last months. So Anthony and Heather present on Tuesday nights, and that's Therapy Tuesdays. And I can honestly tell you, they're at the top of their game, and it's like a world-class offering. Wednesday morning, I teach yoga. When I'm out of the country or not able to teach yoga, either my teacher, Guru Prem, or Stacy, or someone else subs for me. Somebody who's highly skilled and who has a lot of fun in their practice. So that's Wednesday mornings. On Thursdays, I do coaching and Q&A directly with you, the members of the community. You bring me your questions, I answer directly. Again, if I can't, Guru Prem or another teacher will be there. But it's kind of like a spiritual Q&A about recovery, health and wellness, yoga, meditation, and all of that. And then Friday, starting this month, we have morning yoga with Stacy, who is an incredible yoga teacher. And we're just so excited that she's bringing it. She taught her first class in our community a few weeks back, and people raved about it. And she also got more people in her class than I normally get. And that upset me. But I got over it pretty quickly and asked her, would you like to do more of this? So now every Friday morning we have Stacy. It's kind of cool. And then we have a morning practice every month. And this is a morning practice that I refer to as sadhana. Sadhana is a special morning practice that we do together as a community every month. So this is our morning practice for this month, and it's incredibly powerful. And we get to do it all together every morning when we wake up. So these are just options for us. So there you go. That's just the home page. You guys, I'll show you one more thing about membership, and then I'll tell you what we're doing right now. So let's look at the video library. So our video library contains all of these different categories. Dr. Nick, who's an incredible faculty member, a naturopathic doctor, all of his lectures are there. Food, interviews, there's over 250 interviews here. Meditation, music, psychology and spirit, that's all of Heather's offerings, Heather Monroe. Q&A, that's all of the Thursday night spiritual Q&A, and all of our yoga classes. So our yoga classes are many. We have probably over 100 now classes on the site. And I'll just show you our yoga today, which is from all the morning classes. Look at all the live class replays. Over 100 live classes. All the library is here for you guys. We have things like Kriyas for the lymph system, Kriya for the navel center, for the 10 bodies, empowering the heart, the force field of gratitude, everything super relevant to recovery and accessible by all. So that's our membership, and there's so much more. I'm just scratching the surface, really. But what an opportunity for us to get to do all these incredible events live, soon going to be 7 nights a week and mornings and nights a week. So super exciting. So here's what you can do. Our offer to you is join, and you get 30 days free. Just join the membership. Your next 30 days are free. And Stacy will put the link in right here. It's just r20.com/join. So there's literally nothing to lose. Just go sign up. First 30 days free. And then you can choose if you want to be a month-to-month member after that, or if you want to join for the next year. Obviously, if you join for a year, you get a big discount. So that's the story. That's what we're doing. It's a movement towards truth and truthfulness. And we get to do it one day at a time. We get to have teachers, we get to have teachings, and we get to have really powerful community together. And this year in our membership, we're going to be developing some pretty amazing technological tools, which are going to help us to find each other in the real world and to link up with each other and to connect with each other and do even more than we're already doing together. So it's just kind of thrilling to me. It's obviously my life is focused here in terms of my purpose and my reason. My truthfulness has led me to this place. And I hope that in hearing all of this, that you will come and join us. And even if you don't think you want to be a part of, a membership or I don't know, or I don't want to pay for anything, I get it all. I get it. But if you're drawn to this, or you're even willing to just give it a try, why not step in for the next 30 days and just come and be my guest and see what we're doing. And by the way, next Monday, I'm doing Superpower Part 2. The Monday after that will be Superpower Part 3. And the Monday after that will be Superpower Part 4. So if nothing else, just spend the month with us and come see those lectures and presentations. Come take advantage of the yoga classes and the therapy lectures on Tuesdays and the spiritual Q&A on Thursdays and Stacy's yoga on Fridays. Just come take advantage of it. There's nothing to lose and there's only everything to gain. Now, I want to finish on that note and I simply will say this to you. There's truly no reason any longer to be alone. Addiction is just too great a foe. But when we come into circle together, we come into community together, we can stand toe to toe and we can move beyond any addiction and we can move to the next level and we can experience the idea that more will be revealed. And that's us keeping up, and we will be kept up. So don't be alone. Make a decision. And by the way, loneliness, somewhere in there, that's based in untruthfulness also. So we're inviting you into a community. Come and be a part. Let us get to know you. And, we'll let you get to know us too. And we live in a very, very fortunate time right now. You may feel like that's not the case, but we live in a very, very fortunate time right now. We have each other. And that's the most fortunate thing of all. Now let's build on it. And let's go there. And there is here. Okay. I want to thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I want to thank Stacy for helping out as she always does. And I'm grateful to all of you, all of the people who are going to join for the next 30 days for free. Welcome to our membership. I can't wait to experience what's coming up. All the existing members, so glad you're here. Let's keep going together. Let's bring the palms together at our heart center. And we end all of our lectures and all of our presentations and our classes with a prayer. We call it the Recovery 2.0 prayer. If you know it, then you can chant it with me. If you don't know it, then you will know it hopefully soon. Okay. Allow the eyes to close. Let's take a deep inhale to begin. Universe, put us in the places you want us to be, with the people you want us to be with, doing the things you want us to do. Thank you for the joys and the challenges of our lives. Amen and Satnam. By the way, Satnam means truth is my identity. Truth is my identity. And how about that for a great note to end on? Love, peace, and blessings to all, and Satnam.